people, I took quite a long time before reading this one, and I have to say I'm sorry I did that because I love it. I mean, it's A Shadow Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. I have read all her four books, and I have to say that I love how she writes. Up until now, my favorite books of hers were the duology of The Daughter of the Pirate Queen and Daughter of the Siren Queen. And because I did love Alosa, she was a very strong main character, and I loved that she wasn't just trying to make a place for herself in a man's world, but she was carving a place for all women. And she was a very strong character. She knew she was beautiful. She knew she was a woman. She knew how to use her powers of seduction. She knew how to use her strength, and she was so unapologetic. I did love her because we need more characters like her. And here we have our main character. She isn't a princess. She doesn't need sabbing. And on the opening of the book, we have her talking about the first man she has ever killed, and it was someone she loved. So it was like, whoa! It was like a slap on the face. And I have to say that we have this main character. I'm not going to be talking much about the summary because if you love Tricia Levenseller, you're going to love this book. If you haven't ever read anything by her, I recommend that you read just the summary of the book. And don't try to spoil yourself because it's amazing. For me, the most amazing part of this book, the plot is amazing, but the characters are superb. And we have this main character, as I was saying. It's a girl called Alessandra, and she is planning on seducing the king and making him fall in love with her, marrying him, killing him, and becoming the queen. Yeah, I mean, that's her plan. It's devious, she looks like a villain, and it's amazing because she's writing in a way that she's very charismatic. You don't hate her. And I think that takes some very good writing, because when you have a main character who's not, he's not a hero, who's a villain, you have to write them in a certain way so the readers can like her. And I think that Tricia manages to make the readers love Alessandra, because when you keep on reading, you begin discovering things about her relationship with her father, her bringing, what was expected of her, what was asked of her versus her sister, and you begin to understand why she thinks and feels the way she does. And I love that she has this idea of, I want to become queen, I want the power, I don't want to feel love ever again, because, you will know why. And she has this idea of the king as a puppet, as a person that she doesn't know. But when she begins to interact with him, she begins to see that there is something else, that he is a person that can be a match for her. He doesn't try to protect her. He doesn't try to tell her what she has to do. He kind of recognizes her as an equal. And that's something that she wants. She wants for women to have the same rights that men have. For instance, she's called a trollop because he has had sex before. And we have this kind of society in which women have to remain virgins until they marry. So we have this character who enjoys sex, and she's labeled as a trollop. And she's like, no, I just enjoy my body and I enjoy the company of men. So if they are allowed to have sex, why cannot? Why we cannot? I mean, and I love that she's talking about being sexual active, and she's also telling things like, if you want to wait for a man, you wait for a man. If you want to have sex, you have sex. If you want to explore, you explore, because what defines a woman isn't what she has between her legs, but inside her brain. And I love that she's striving to try to make women's rights equal to men's rights. And I love that they have this connection with the king in which, they find themselves matched in each other. And I'm not going to tell much about what they find in each other because you have to read the book for that. But I have to say that I love these characters. You have secondary characters too. I love the girls especially. But I have to say that the main point of the story remains with our two main characters, which are completely unique, and I love them because we have this king. As you can see, the shadows between us. He's called the Shadow King because he has all these shadows surrounding him and protecting him. And you're going to learn why those shadows are there and how they work. But I mean, I think it's brilliant to have this man who can, be a shadow and have shadows protect him. And in some way, it reminded me of La Sombra from the vampire roleplay game. They can use shadows and interact with them. But this is a unique turn on about the shadows that protect the king. I mean, it was amazing. I have to say that I'm very happy that I read this book. I mean, the author that says that it's kind of this Slytherin romance. And yes, it is, because you have these two main characters who are not heroic. They have their moments of heroism, but they are villains. No, they are not villains. They are ruthless. That's the word. They're ruthless, and they know what they want, and they know how to ask for it and how to take it. If they want something, they take it, and they are also very unapologetic doing that. But they're not the bad people. They are protecting themselves, they're protecting the people they love, they're protecting their ideals, they're protecting, you will have to read the book to understand why these characters are the way they are. And I have to say that I love how Tricia managed to create them, as I said at the beginning of this review, in a way that they are very charismatic, and that despite the fact that sometimes they do very shocking things, you understand them. I mean, you may agree or you may not agree with what they're doing, but you can understand they are not coming out of the blue. They are not sadistic. They are not doing things for shocking values. They're doing things, that have to be done if you understand where they're coming from. I have to say this book has been amazing. Also, the romance is very sizzling because they cannot touch. So it's like they have the temptation in front of each other and they cannot, and it builds and builds and builds the tension, and it's like, come on, you guys. I mean, yeah. And the plot, it's very, I love the plot. I guess he was trying to, you know that someone wants to kill the king from the beginning. I did guess right, and I'm very happy for that. I think that Tricia wanted you to guess who is behind everything, because there's little inklings here and there, and if you read very, you will guess too. I mean, I have enjoyed this book a lot. I'm in a very rough moment. Well, maybe not very rough, but I'm in a rough moment, and this book managed to make me completely forgot about all the things that are wrong in the world, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. So yeah, for me, it was amazing. Yeah, I'm making this review in November. I don't know when I will put it up. We're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. In case I ended publishing it, I don't know when. But yeah, and see, this book has helped me take my mind off things and make me laugh and make me enjoy being lost inside its pages. And the world that she has described it has been very vivid on my head, and I'm really grateful to have been able to to disconnect and lose myself in this book, because it's been an amazing read, and I recommend this book to you a lot. So thank you for watching, and forgive my ramblings. Bye.